Morning, good afternoon, or good evening. This is Clifton Bradley from out of the United States, Chicago, Illinois. And you know what? I'm ready to present some news to you. Now, this video was done yesterday, 7/14/21. And a lot of people they want to see it again. They wanted to see it again. And let me set this up by saying we're talking about news that is going on in the United States, globally and locally. And we're going to talk about leaders that have been deposed, like Saddam Hussein, okay, Castro, Libya, Gaddafi, and we'll be talking about the NSA, and talking about things that are going on domestically in the United States of America. We are a television production um, organization in Chicago called Shamar Media Productions in Chicago. We make television shows. You know, we make television shows. We manage people that want management in regards to getting their word out to the people. But I better get to the point, because you know what? Because this is a long video. And you know what? I would like for you to share this video. And I have Brother Salim on from the Flaming Crescent Society. This is a tape show. And I want you to see this. And what I'm going to do is, there might be a moment of silence. Don't get alarmed. Okay? Do not get alarmed by this. And if you have like any suggestions, any comments, or anything that you would like to convey to me, appreciate it. And you know what? To help in my endeavor to create better content, donations are welcome. I don't care if it's $1, 5 cents. I don't care. You know what? Because you know what? I'm passionate at trying to disseminate information to the people, but I need your help. And if you cannot help me, you can help me by pressing the share button and sharing it on social media. That's something that you can do. You can do that. So without any further ado, I heard those words on television from somebody. But with any further ado, I'm gonna play Brother Salim. And hey man, it was an interesting interview, and I thank all of the people that watched yesterday. A lot of people that watched, commented, and I show up in the talent. But you know what? People did let me know, you know, and I appreciate it. So thank you very much. So this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna play that video. And what happened is, here it goes. Okay. The guest is coming in right now. I know we're a little late, but this technology. So for people that are listening, just be patient. Okay. Okay, there you go. Okay, let me turn my phone off. Okay. And Assalamu alaikum, brother.
Wa alaikum salam, my brother.
I want to thank you for joining the Underground Railroad television show in Chicago. And people that don't know, we come on every Saturday night at 10:30 in Chicago, but we put it on YouTube. That is something we do. And I want to thank you to the contributors, the people that send me something through PayPal that help me in my endeavor to deliver information. Thank you. With Brother Salim, I have Brother Salim on, and he is the president and the founder of the Flaming Crescent Society. And we're coming from out of Chicago. And like I say, if you want to leave anything in the chat room, you can call up. So, brother, tell us about yourself. Who are you and why we should get involved with the Flaming Crescent Society? Who are you?
Well, brother, I would refer to myself as an amateur historian. I've written a couple of books, given some lectures. I've been involved in community activities over the years. We're trying to raise up the consciousness of our people and our youth. The Flaming Crescent Society was started in honor of Malcolm X around 1992 in order to lift up his legacy and help our people to know who he was and what he represented. I'm mainly interested in the upliftment of our people. We are plagued right now with a lot of trouble in our community, black on black violence, disrespect of our women. Our youth are astray, and I feel the best way to do it, to alleviate that problem, is by instilling cultural and spiritual values in our people. So that's basically, in a nutshell, what the Flaming Crescent Society is all about.
Now, you know what? There is a show that you come on every Saturday. So how do people get in tune with you on the show that you come on Saturday? And what time do you come on Saturday on the internet?
The name of the podcast is the Hey Neighbors Truth Spitters podcast, and that is produced by Brother Patrick Jameson. He's on Facebook for anyone that would like to look him up. That's Patrick Jameson, and that's the Hey Neighbors Truth Spitters podcast. I can share the call-in telephone number, which comes in on 5 o'clock Pacific Coast time and 7 o'clock Central or Chicago time, and that number is 559 856 2090. I'm gonna give that one more time. That is 559 856 2090 is the call-in number that you can call in or either video call in to express your opinion about whatever subjects that we decide to talk about. And the subjects that we discuss concern the upliftment and the unity of the Black race.
It's specific. You know what I think is something specific to Pan-African movement for individuals that do not know what the Pan-African movement is about. Could you tell them?
Well,
explain it to them, please.
That I think I need to mention that we are Pan-Africanists and Black nationalists, and I know when I use those two terms, ideological or political expressions, it frightens a lot of people. It frightens white folks and it frightens house Negroes, because Pan-Africanism is a response to colonialism and imperialism.
Okay.
And people like Kwame Nkrumah of Ghana and other Pan-Africanists were those leaders and philosophers, who formulated the concept as a response to racist imperialists, that invaded Africa, to colonize the people and take over its natural resource. So Pan-Africanism really, in a nutshell, is the unity of all people of African descent around the globe, no matter what country they're in, and they all believe in the unity of the African race, and also they express for love for the continent of Africa. Black nationalism, people get frightened by that word, but I would remind everybody that if you read the COINTELPRO papers of the FBI, which was initiated by J. Edgar Hoover, they stated in that document that there were certain leaders on their list that they had dossiers on, like Malcolm X, Stokely Carmichael, Elijah Muhammad, etc., etc. They called those leaders black nationalists, and they said, this is the government talking now, they said that if Dr. King would abandon his nonviolent philosophy and become a black nationalist, that is becoming more militant, that would begin to be the beginning of a true black revolution and unity amongst black people, and they didn't want to see that. All right. So black nationalism, as defined by Brother Malcolm X, meant the controlling of the politics and economics of the community. Now, let me ask you this question right here. Is there anything wrong with the Jews controlling the politics and economics of their community, or the Italians doing that, or the Chinese doing that? No, it's not. But when it comes time to black people, when we look in our community, we see that the Arabs, the Jews, the Koreans, the whites, and everybody else control the politics and economics of our community. So what we're saying is black nationalists, that it's time for black people to take over the politics and economics of our own community, just like every other race does. It's nothing racist about that. A black nationalist does not hate white people because they're white. Okay, so anybody going around saying that a black nationalist hates white people is a liar. Okay, black nationalism has nothing to do with hating white people. Black nationalism and Pan-Africanism both have to do with self-determination. All right, so it's no conflict between that and being a Muslim. You see, a lot of Muslims that want to make you believe that black nationalism and Pan-Africanism is racist. That is a lie. That is a lie. You can be a Muslim and you can be a Pan-African. That means loving Africa. What's wrong with us loving where we come from, where we originate from? The Jews love Israel. The Chinese love China. So what's wrong with us loving Africa? What is wrong? I asked this question to my audience. What is wrong with black people, regardless of your religion? What is wrong with us wanting to unify and control the politics and economics of our community? We have been the victims of a conspiracy.
And then, you know what, I want to ask you other question about the show that you come on Saturday, which is a great platform, and thank you for putting me in contact with them. What can we do to help that platform to grow? What can we do?
We can spread the word about it. Spread the word about what Brother Jameson is trying to do. Tell people to call in and express their opinion, because it's a free platform for you to express your opinion. You know, we should get in contact with each other. We should have visual. We should have audio contact with each other. You know, and do more than just type on Facebook and social media, you know, our opinions and expressions to one another. We should actually come into some type of human relation and contact with each other and learn to support each other, just as other races support their own people.
You know, it was a brother, and I'm not gonna call his name. He was saying, man, am I in competition with him? I said, brother, I'm not in competition with anybody. I'm only doing what Allah wants me to do. What do you think about somebody with that attitude that does not want to unite with you to uplift black people because they in their minds they're in competition with you?
Well, that is symptomatic of the crab in the barrel mentality that many of us had passed down to us from the slave plantation. You know, division has always been part and parcel of white supremacy's plan, you know, for divide and conquer. And unfortunately, because some black people, you know, still are walking around with self-hatred and an inferiority complex, they unfortunately see no need to unite with their own self and kind. So that is simply a result of that crab in the barrel, that slave plantation, that plantation ghost mentality, that we inherit, some of our people inherited, from slavery. It's a
I want to follow up with a question, okay? Once you finish. My follow-up is, I look at Michael Jordan, for example. He's a basketball player, and he's very, very, very competitive. Would you say that's a negative thing or a positive thing?
Competing is never negative in and of itself.
Okay.
It's not. In fact, Allah tells you in the Quran, to compete with each other in righteousness, in good behavior. So it's nothing negative in competing as long as you are trying to do good. But when you're trying to compete with each other in the process of putting each other down, lambasting each other, hating on each other, that's when competition becomes a destruction.
Okay, this is the last. I think the last question on Black nationalism. Marcus Garvey, I believe, was the founder of Black nationalists, and if I am wrong, he led something back to Africa. Can you tell us something about Marcus Garvey? And am I correct by saying that he's the one that started that movement?
No, you're incorrect. Actually, before him, I would encourage our listeners to investigate the history of a man by the name of Martin Delany. Martin Delany was the first major Black nationalist, and then others came, such as Marcus Garvey, W.E.B. Du Bois, and Kwame Ture, aka Stokely Carmichael, Malcolm, Elijah Muhammad, and etc. But Marcus Garvey was one of the most, if not the most significant Black nationalists after Martin Delany, because Marcus Garvey started the Black Star Line and the Back to Africa movement, and he enlightened the consciousness of millions of Black people. I think that was in the 1920s, if I'm not mistaken, and because of his efforts, which was very potent, United States government came down on that brother. Let me also mention that one of the other Pan-Africanists, that intellectuals that woke up the consciousness of Marcus Garvey, was a Muslim that a lot of people don't know about. His name was Deuce Muhammad Ali. He was a Black African Egyptian Muslim that came to America and worked with Marcus Garvey and helped to make more militant the consciousness of Marcus Garvey. And so a lot of people don't often give Deuce Muhammad Ali any credit, but he influenced Marcus Garvey, and Marcus Garvey, as a result of his relationship with Deuce Muhammad Ali, this Black Egyptian Muslim, developed respect for Islam.
Yes.
In Marcus Garvey's book, Philosophy and Opinions, on page 412, the original edition, they quoted Marcus Garvey as saying that Allah was the God of Africa.
Yes.
You understand?
Brother, I got a question for you in the chat room. Okay. And the question from you, first of all, that's from my main man, Brother David Koss. Brother David Koss, I want to thank you for helping the Underground Railroad television show, not just with words, but with cash. I want to appreciate that, because you know what? It costs money to produce these shows over the internet. And I want to thank you. Okay. And my question, a question for Mr. David Koss is, do you think that every color of man and woman today have some who are possibly, I need to read, our brothers need to be recognized no matter what color they are, whether they're doing negative or positive? What's your opinion?
Let me see. He says, I think that every color of man and woman today have some who are positive and some who are negative.
Yeah.
Yes, I agree with that. I agree. There's no race that is without some sinners and criminals. I agree with that 100%.
Okay.
However, historically speaking, none of the evils that Black people have done can equal the atrocities and the horrors that the white race has inflicted upon the majority of mankind and peoples of color. They dropped the atomic bomb on the Japanese. They came to America and stole the land from the Indians. They wiped out the Aboriginal people. They enslaved Africans, for over 400 years. No Black people have ever done anything of that magnitude. Okay, so I'm not saying that Black people, haven't done evil or are capable of doing wrong, but when you compare with what the white man has done, there's no comparison.
And let me tell the people out there, he is not prejudiced. He is pointing out what has been read historically, and he's saying what has been done. Because you know what, YouTube has a tendency to ostracize people with certain opinions and view, and I just want to substantiate that he is not a prejudiced man. Everything that he is saying, he has done, he has read, he has done research about. I want to ask you something about YouTube and then get back to another issue. Do you think it is wrong for YouTube to ostracize certain opinions, like about the virus? I don't even talk about the virus because they give you a strike about it. But you hear all type of crazy things on YouTube. But when you start talking about things that may be different in conscious level, they ostracize you or try to isolate you. And do they have the right to do that because this is their platform? I want to ask you that.
Well, this is the part of the hypocrisy of America, that likes to boast about its Constitution and such things as freedom of speech. When you have platforms like YouTube and Facebook, who are blocking individuals from speaking certain truths. And I myself have been a victim on Facebook on numerous occasions. I think I've been probably blocked, censored, or put in check maybe 30 or 40 times over the last 10 years that I've been on social media, on Facebook in particular. Yes, I agree with you. It's an injustice because, what do? They block Minister Farrakhan. I don't always agree with Minister Farrakhan on everything, but I don't feel that he deserved to be blocked off of Facebook as they did. To a certain extent, even though Donald Trump is a very toxic, racist individual, maybe it's an injustice that he was blocked. Also, if you say you believe in freedom of speech, then practice what you preach. I know of individuals that have been blocked on Facebook for simply speaking things that could be historically proven as being true. So
I got a follow-up question when you finish. Okay.
Apparently, what's going on is that we have a system of gatekeepers, who are trying to keep Black people in particular, but also all American people dumbed down with the standard American, what I call the standard American education, which leaves people blind to, certain facts in history, just like they're trying to do with this critical race theory right now. They don't want people to know what white people have actually, perpetrated against people throughout history.
I got a follow-up question and then to the chat room. When you say that about YouTube, do they not have the right to block because it is their platform? If you have a platform, do you not have the right to have on and let individuals utilize it that you want to if it is a privately owned company? That's what I like to ask you.
Yeah, they have a right to do it, but if they believe in freedom of speech, they would think twice before they do it, unless they make themselves hypocrites. Of course they have. Of course they have the right to do it. If I have a radio or TV show, I have a right to have on it whoever I want to, or whoever and block, prevent whoever I don't like from coming on there. But if I believe in freedom of speech, then I would possibly allow even somebody I might not like to express their views and their opinions.
Now you got something in the chat room from the show that you come on, brother. Hey, neighbor Z. It says a black woman had 2 million views and paid $1,000. What he's saying is you could get more views by paying a service to get more views on your YouTube or your Facebook platform. What do you think about that?
That sounds a little bit like that payola thing in the record industry, doesn't it?
No code pro or whatever that is. You pay to play. I understand what you're saying.
Quid pro quo.
Yeah. And you know what? We got another question in the chat room for you. I'm going to put it up. You say Mexican, Asians, and immigrants do not speak English, the English language. Do they have the freedom of speech too? Mexicans.
Mexican immigrants that do not speak English language, do they have the freedom of speech? I'm not quite sure if I understand that question or where that question is going, but I mean, they're human beings. They speak their language. I think that they should speak or communicate in a language that everybody understands if they're going to live in America, amongst other American people. I mean, if you're going to go to Mexico to live for some length of time, then you should or would be expected to learn something about the Mexican language in order to, if you're going to live there on a permanent basis.
You know what, brother, and you know what? It'll be just injustice to me to live in Chicago and not ask you questions pertaining to Chicago, because charity starts at home, with all due respect to the global audience. You know what? There is criminal activity going on in Chicago over the weekend. There are many people that have been killed. There are women that have come up missing. And you know what? There are aldermen that are proposing that the National Guards come into Chicago to patrol the area. What is your stance on that? Should the National Guards come into Chicago to minimize the criminal activity and the killing in Chicago?
Well, first of all, let me take the first part of your statement first. You spoke about the criminal behavior on the part of Black people. And let me say, a lot of this criminal and sinful behavior on the part of our people is a result of lack of knowledge, ignorance, self-hatred, which can be flipped around, if we begin to teach our people knowledge, wisdom, and understanding of themselves, who they are and where they come from. And we happen to live in a system in which the educational system gives our people the standard American education, which leaves them dumbed down, which leaves them not knowing who they are. The governor just passed a law here in Illinois that, Asian history, must be taught in the public school system. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Have they passed any laws making it mandatory that all students learn Black history yet? Correct me if I'm wrong. Has that been passed?
No, they have passed a law to learn about the LGBT movement, and don't have nothing to say about that because I know how YouTube is, but no.
Okay, so it's unjust that for 400 years, we have given blood, sweat, and tears to America, but yet, it is not mandatory that people learn about Black history and the contributions of Black people. So this is part of an ongoing injustice that's really designed, in my opinion, to keep our people in the present, mental, physical, and economic condition that we've been in for so long. The crime problem cannot be solved alone by sending in the National Guard. We have to correct the educational problem of the Black community. We have to correct the economic, and the political injustice that our people have been experiencing. We have to do something about police brutality. As Brother Malcolm X said, as long as you have racist police, members of the Ku Klux Klan being allowed to be on the police force, we're going to have a problem with great racist police brutality, which is going to cause the people to rise up in anger and hate against the system. So until America begins to practice what it preaches, they talk all this stuff about the land of the free and the home of the brave and all of that there.
Yeah.
And God bless America being the greatest country on the earth. But you cannot be the greatest country on the earth as long as you are oppressing, the very people that help make America what it has become.
Yes, sir. You got two questions after that. They're going to ask about your book, but it is somebody, Brother David wants to know, people need to educate themselves first before their votes can be counted in any decision, I believe. What is your opinion about that?
Well, Malcolm X said that vote, but be intelligent voters when you vote. Malcolm said don't vote unless you have been educated as who the candidate is, what he stands for, whether or not he represents the best interest of the Black community. I've never been for this. You hear people when election time comes along, you hear all these politicians and these radio hosts and TV hosts get on television telling the people to vote, just vote. No, I'm not voting if I'm not sure about who I'm voting for. If a candidate has not proven by his past actions that he has the best interest of the Black community, why vote for him? No, we need to stay home if they're not representing our best interest. I'm not with that vote just to be voting. And I recognize that our ancestors paid the price for the vote. But Black people have to stop being suckers, for politicians who could continue to make all these promises. But when they get in office, they never fulfill any of the promises that they have made to the people.
Well, I got a follow up. My follow up is, you say that you vote, and I think they just had a voters right thing that was turned down. You say that you vote, and what I would like to ask you in regards to that is, if you vote, what difference does it really make if your politician is controlled by contributors that give $100,000 and $50,000 and you give $5? And who will have more influence? Who has more interest? Whose interest will that individual politician look out for? I'm talking about if they are controlled by lobbyists. I would like to know that.
Well, what you just pointed out is only indicative of how corrupt this American political system is, brother. There are cracks in the Constitution. There's a book that I would recommend that everybody get. It's an old book. The name of it is Cracks in the Constitution by Ferdinand Lundberg, and he pointed out all of the defects in the American political system, brother. So, the fact that money sometimes is more important than honest politics, demonstrates that, America is not everything that is made out to be, brother. Yes, it may be many things positive about this country in comparison with other countries, but that you can't tell me that America is the greatest country on the planet. When I look out and I see poverty, I see homelessness, I see police brutality, I see people being messed over economically, the poor, old people, the senior citizens, are being neglected. The veterans are being neglected. You can't tell me that with all this happening, that America is the greatest. Then when we can go in some other countries, like maybe Sweden or other countries, and we see that the people and the citizens are respected and well taken care of much better than the people are over here. So,
well, I need to ask that question in a different way. What I'm asking you is, if the majority of your politicians are controlled by people that we don't even see, and the majority are not looking out towards the interests of the people because of their contributors, what good is the vote doing? That's what I meant. I need to restructure my
I agree. I agree. The vote can be stolen. Going back in the 90s, when Bush ran for president and won a couple of times, that they have evidence that the vote was stolen. Mm-hmm. You see that they can manipulate the vote through the computer system. Mm-hmm. You understand? So when things like that are allowed to happen, the vote of the people really mean nothing. The vote of the people really means nothing. So in a way, maybe the whole system needs to be, overturned, and a whole new political system, needs to come in place so that the masses of the people can get justice and not the rich people up at the top.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And you know what? There is a brother Haymaker's brother Hay, neighbor Z. He wanted to know. He is more interested in how does he buy your books? Tell us about you being an author, and why did you become an author? And tell us about your books.
Okay, well, I've written. I'm the author of at least 10 publications, self-published. One of my first books was an audio book entitled "The Talking Book of Black History," which is on CD. This is a 90-minute educational audio tape that gives a panoramic view of Black history and African history from past to present. That's available. I have also wrote a book called "The Untold Story of Blacks in Islam," and this gives the history of Black Muslims from past to present. I did a book called "The Melanin Chronicles." This talks about the great, magnificent chemical that Almighty God, Allah, gave us, and how it contributes to our intelligence, rhythm, and all the great heroes and sheroes in Black history and the magnificent things.
Excuse me for 1 second. Can you put the link in the chat room of where people could go purchase the book?
Well, they can contact me directly at my email. They can contact me directly at my email, which if it's possible for you to post, you feel free to do that.
Okay, I do that while you. I do that while you talking. Okay.
Yeah, that's Khalik7 at sbcglobal.net. It is KHALIQ, the number 7 at sbcglobal.net.
Okay, I'm typing it in right now. Okay.
Yeah, Khalik7 at sbcglobal.net. KHALIQ, the number 7 at sbcglobal.net. So, those are a few of the books that I've written. I also have a lot of my lectures available on DVD and also CD. Numerous lectures that I've given over the years that would be of interest to people wanting to learn more about their culture, history, and events relating to the upliftment of our community.
Okay, and you know what? Like I said, I got down below you where I got the email address where they can get in contact with you. If that's incorrect, let me know.
There's no www in there. That's my email address.
Okay, you can put www. Okay, you can put www
there.
Okay.
They won't be able to get in touch with me if that www.
Oh, okay. Let me do. Okay, let me. Okay, go ahead. I'm listening to you though. I'm listening to you.
Yeah. Okay. So those are just some of the things that Again, I consider myself a amateur historian. I say amateur historian because I'm always learning. You never finish learning, and I take my cues from Al-Haj Malik Shabazz, brother Malcolm X. Who read every book in the library. If you can see, I value libraries, because you can see all the books behind me. And my reading and constant study inspired me to do some writing, on my own, and on subjects that I feel are, very relevant to the spiritual and cultural consciousness of our
Okay.
people. Yeah. So that's just that's just Colic 7 at SBC.
You know what though, but I see that, but it lights up as a link that they can get to. Lights up this with the www with a link that they can get to the www. I'm looking right at it. I can go right to it right now.
Yeah.
But go ahead. But you know what I'll write it in there again. But you know something I really want to ask you about Chicago, Illinois. What is the solution? Can the criminal activity be solved? I happen to believe it can't be solved because man has deviated off the path of God, and it's going to get worse. But if you have a different opinion, please let me know.
It would never be solved as long as America is in the state that it's in, because Malcolm said in one of his books, he said that as long as you have corrupt police, you're gonna always have crime in the Black community. So you got some police that benefit, from the drug and gang problem.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? But once Black people come together amongst themselves,
Mm-hmm.
and unify and begin to respect each other and uplift each other, our people will become intolerant, toward criminal activity. Black man himself, as Malcolm said, that have to stand up and protect his own community. We can't expect any white police to come in the Black community and solve a problem that they helped create. They put guns and drugs in the community for our people to destroy each other. So you think that they're going to be interested in helping to solve the problem? We think that the National Guard can come in the Black community and solve the crime problem when they come in the Black community. Look at the history of what happened in the 60s and 70s when the riots broke out. You had white National Guardsmen that came in here and killed Black people. You got white National Guardsmen that are member of the Ku Klux Klan and neo-Nazis. So you think that these people are going to come in here and help the Black community solve the crime problem?
Well, I have a follow-up question for that. My follow-up question is, amongst the Black police, there's also a code of silence. So if you flood the community with Black policemen, there's still a code of silence that exists with the police department. So how do you eliminate that?
Well, again, we the only way we could eliminate.
Just tell people what code of silence means. Code of silence is, you know what? I see my brother do something. I get money from a drug house. I ain't gonna say nothing because you know what? We roll together. So if you flood the African American community with all Black police, how does that solve the problem of the code of silence? I would like to ask you.
Well, brother, again, that we can't solve the problem unless we educate our people, brother.
Okay.
You don't have all Black police that's corrupt. You have some Black policemen that I've met in the past, brother, that had spiritual and cultural consciousness as well as anybody else. Pat Hill was a sister here in Chicago that had a great deal of cultural and spiritual consciousness, and she demonstrated care and love for the Black community. If we can get our police officers, to understand their obligation to the Black community and to understand the importance of their Black history and loving their own and respecting their own people. These are the type of police officers, that will help eliminate the problem. But as long as they're in a house Negro mentality, as long as they just want to be a Sambo, and go along with the racist system that oppresses their people, then they're not going to make any contribution, because many of them, unfortunately, that you mentioned, they look down on our people worse than these white racist police officers.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, is it, you know what, the question in the chat room, is it not true? And I know that you are a reader and an author. Is it not true that crack was brought into the African American community in California crack was brought into the community, and the mafia and their partners was crack brought into the community in California, and was the mafia involved with that? And the police?
Well, it's always been the police and crime syndicate cooperation in dousing the black community with drugs, going all the way back in the day, with Lucky Luciano. Look at that movie, The Godfather, when Lucky Luciano made the statement in there, that we won't sell heroin to our people, we'll give it to the niggas. You understand? Yeah. And the fact that the CIA was involved in the crack epidemic, it was proven when Gary Webb wrote his book on that history, and they also made a movie called "Don't Kill the Messenger." Mm-hmm. I forgot Jeremy. I can't remember that actor's name that played the Archer in Avengers. Played the role of Gary Webb in that movie, exposing the government and CIA involvement in flooding the black community with the crack. You understand? So it's evidence. And Gary Webb ended up being found dead of 2 bullet wounds to the head. How can you shoot yourself in the head twice? You understand what I'm saying? No, he was murdered for what he revealed and exposed in that book that he wrote, and the newspaper articles that he wrote in the San Jose Mercury News. You see, the Voter Rights Act that they're saying that was turned down, to where they're making it harder for people of color to vote. How does that affect? I mean, should it be a big thing if you don't have your ID, or you have your ID, them gerrymandering, and people that don't even know what the Voter Rights Act is that was turned down? Can you explain that to the masses that are listening? Well, the only thing that I have to say about that, that just showed you how intent the majority of these white politicians are in preventing black people from having their political rights. Now with that said, I'm not saying that voting is a panacea. Okay, I don't believe that voting alone has all the answers. There are things that black people need to be doing outside of voting, to help our people move forward and solve some of the problems that we are being afflicted by. So we can't depend on the vote alone. But with that said, also, let me say this here. Anytime Malcolm said, whatever white people is against, that's what we should be for. And whatever they're against, for, that's what we should be against. So if white people are trying to prevent us from voting, then we need to make sure that we try to vote. Okay. You understand? If I know that the white man doesn't want me to vote, then I'm gonna vote to piss the white man off. Okay. And then the people, again, because of YouTube, and giving a disclaimer, we're not prejudiced. All we're doing is just pointing out historical facts. I got to do that for YouTube. I'm sorry, brother. Because YouTube, hey, man, that's how their algorithms work. Yeah. For some reason. Question is about overseas. First of all, before I get to overseas, what is your impression of U.S. President Joe Biden? Once upon a time, he sided with the Republicans in doing something against people of color. I forgot what it is. I'm not going to say. I had to do the research because you know what, I forgot. But what is your impression of U.S. President Joe Biden? Typical white liberal, man. Malcolm exposed the liberals in his books. You know, he talked about the conservative Republicans and the liberal Democrats. He called one the wolf and the other the fox. You
Mm-hmm.
know, Malcolm exposed the liberal president John Kennedy, you know, and how he fiddled his fingers around while those demonstrators, black demonstrators, were being bombed and killed in the South. You know, during the civil rights move. He was only made a move when he was forced to do so.
Mm-hmm.
You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't believe personally that Biden is in it. Yeah, he might be a little bit different from Trump, but I would call Biden Trump light.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Trump light. What the evidence is that, you know, the slow movement on really doing something about police brutality, his lack of you know, movement on black reparations. Uh, Biden he's a slickster. He's a slickster. No different from any of the previous liberals that, you know, masquerade as though they are friends of the black community, but when it really comes time to doing something significant for
Mm-hmm.
black people, like reparations, you know, they move like the tortoise against the hare.
Mm-hmm. You got a question in the chat room, and I think we asked that. They say voting is important, but it's also fraud because elected officials are selected. What that individual is saying is, like the president of the United States of America, he is selected in Bohemian Grove in California before he's elected. Do you agree with that or disagree with that?
Yeah, of course I agree with it. I mean, this really I mean, if you want to be point blank and frank, man, this whole system is a fraud, man. It never was about democracy. It's never been about the land of the free and the home of the brave. You know, these are basically myths and fairy tales, you know, that we are fed in order to keep us docile, dumbed down, you know, living in a dream world, man. You understand what I'm talking about?
Hollywood. You said about Hollywood. I know. All
Yeah,
right.
it's an illusion. It's an illusion. If we've seen the Wizard of Oz, we know that you know, the wizard had everybody in illusion. You know, he had everybody fooled until Toto the black dog pulled the curtain back and revealed that was a man behind the curtain pulling all the strings, brother. And so what we seeing here in America is really no different. It's really no different.
It's really no difference. I want to ask you something, and you know what? This is a touchy subject. It's kind of hard, man, on YouTube to talk about Israel and Palestine. You know what? Because man, they block, they hit you over the head when you talk about Israel. Who do you think is right in Palestine, in Israel, the war that they have going on? Because do you think that that situation will be solved? And like I said, they knock you over the head for talking about Israel. But I'm not talking, I'm asking to get education.
The problem will never be solved as long as America is involved. The Palestinians, you know, if you go back and do some independent reading, you know, past what the mainstream or lamestream media would have you believe anytime they report on that situation. If you do your own independent investigation, you'll find out about the injustice that was done to the Palestinians, you know, when Britain and America, you know, got involved and they actually stole the land and gave it to the Zionists. The Zionists are usurpers. They are invaded the Palestinian land the same way the cowboys, you know, did the Indians and stole America, you know, from the Indians. You understand? The Palestinian people have been done a grave injustice.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and they are living in apartheid-like conditions over there in Israel, which masquerades as a democracy.
Got to
So
follow up.
the problem is not going to be solved as long as America, is providing Israel with billions of dollars a year, and also helping to arm them with bombs and grenades and all this sophisticated weaponry that they use to oppress the Palestinian people.
I have a follow-up question. You said that Israel invaded, but is it not true that that land was given to them by the United Nations in, damn, I forgot what year. That the United Nations gave them that land. Use the term invaded, but I'm trying to.
England and America was involved in duplicity and secret negotiations. Where was some document called the Pikes-Sykes agreement that people can look up, that goes into the machinations and the conspiracies involved in the white man stealing the land from Palestine, and the Palestinians, and giving it to the Zionist Jews, who are not really true Jews. They are Ashkenazim Europeans masquerading as Jews, who stole the original birthright from the black Hebrew, Phoenician and Sephardic Jews that land really belongs to.
What does the United Nations come in? When you say invaded, but what does the United Nations come in? I just forgot the year. Didn't the United Nations grant them that land? Which
the United Nations, from what I understand, might have been involved, but also the United Nations also at one time declared Zionism as racism. They declared, look it up for yourself.
Okay.
The United Nations declared the Zionist movement, as a racist movement that oppresses, the Palestinians and peoples of color. The same Zionists at one time planned on going into Africa and stealing Uganda before they went into Palestine and stole the land from the Palestinians.
Wow, man, that's cool. According to the history, and you know what, you got question in the chat room. Say, oh, good morning, Underground Railroad. I used to watch you on CAN television, but you can catch us now on the internet. But like Brother Salim, but you can catch Brother Salim. What's the show you come on again? Because she might have just tuned in.
Hey neighbors,
you need to move over because you out of the camera. Okay, she can catch you too. Okay.
Yeah. Hey neighbors, True Spitters podcast. That number every Saturday is 559-856-2090, and it comes on 5 o'clock Pacific time, 7 o'clock Central time. That is that number once again. It's 559-856-2090. That's the Hey Neighbors True Spitters podcast with Patrick Jameson and also Sister Dolitha Young and myself.
Okay. And I want to put out something, you know what, again, Underground Railroad comes on every Saturday night at 10:30 in Chicago. But you know what? But we have a YouTube website. And you can see Brother Salim on that. That's on 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. And we are a video production company. If you want video made, hey, let me know. And if you want to contribute to this broadcast to help us by giving us a donation, I ain't too proud to beg. You know what? Because you have not, because you ask not. So help us in our endeavor by giving us some type of donation if you like what we're doing. Okay. And tell them what you're talking about, the Flaming Crescent Society, and then we'll move on.
Well, again, the Flaming Crescent Society was started in 1992. It's basically an Islamic organization, but we also break bread with, all in our Black community. We don't care whether you're a Christian, Hebrew, Moor, whatever your political or ideological beliefs. We believe in the unity of all of our people. But basically, the Flaming Crescent Society was started in honor of Brother Alhaj Malik Shabazz, and also to correct the many falsehoods, misrepresentations of Islam and Prophet Muhammad. We want everybody to know the truth about what Islam is all about. Islam is not terrorism. Okay, Prophet Muhammad wasn't the negative things that the media and the Christian preachers often say about him. So the Flaming Crescent Society was also started in order to correct the falsehood that has been told here in America about what true Islam is about.
Okay. Now, people that love to read, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put his email up so you can buy his book. You know what? It's cool to say he's got a good book, but you know what? Share this, because we want this brother to go pop up the #1. I don't even know how do you say the bestsellers book? We want this brother. We want you to buy the book. Okay, we want you to buy him. We want you to support him, not just with your words, but you know what? You pay your cell phone bill and you don't have no problem. Buy them Jordans. Buy a book from this brother. And buy gold. Yeah. The gold is the book. Tell us about your books. And you need to buy his book, because you know what? This is a brother.
It caused a minor cave in here, but anyway,
It's all good. We need to buy this brother's book. We need to support him. We need to buy so many books from this brother. He tired of getting the orders.
Yeah, let me just show. This is the untold story. This is the untold story of blacks in Islam. Mm-hmm. This is one of my first books. I also did a book recently. You Are What You Eat, what the Holy Quran says about health and nutrition. We need to get our health together because many of us are dying of many diseases that could be avoided by proper exercise and nutrition. That's once again, you are what you eat, what the Holy Quran says on health and nutrition. Mm-hmm. I just finished this last year. Some falsehood, lies, myths, and understandings about Islam is another publication that I did. All of these books are self-published. This is Slavery, Reparations, and White Supremacy. This is a very important topic right now. Here's another book I wrote called Amazing Facts About Muslims in Science, History, and Sports. Mm-hmm. This book is the Melanin Chronicles. The Melanin Chronicles. Okay. And one last book that I like to present is The Perilous Pig, The Science of Why It's Forbidden in the Holy Quran, The Perilous Pig. So these are just a few of the publications that I authored. They are self-published. And you can contact me at my email address for anyone that want further.
I'm gonna put that up right now. And can they go to Amazon.com?
Well, I have a couple of books on Amazon, but I'm having a little problem with Amazon right now. So I would rather anyone that's interested, I would prefer that they deal directly with me.
Okay. So Amazon. So this, you know what? This is a book publisher in Chicago, and you know what? I'm gonna say that with urgency. You need to support this brother in his endeavor, because he is working to help indigenous people by giving them gold or information that can free themselves from the darkness that they may be in. Or you could pass on that information to somebody else. But not only that, we want you to pass on his email address. Not just keep it a secret, but share it. Share it with somebody. Because we want you to get so many orders, brother, you tired of sending them out.
Thank you, brother.
Alhamdulillah. So you know what? I want to ask you about reparations. Mm-hmm. We're not prejudiced about making a statement like that. Now, the Chinese got reparations.
Right. Yeah, I'm listening.
Okay. And you know what? Other group, the Indians, get reparations.
Right.
The Aborigines that are in Australia, 2021, they are getting reparations. Are getting ready to get reparations, and Jamaica is asking the Queen for reparations.
Right.
What is reparations? Reparations is paying somebody something monetary or money because of the atrocities that happened to them. Do you think people of color, black people in the United States of America, are entitled to reparations just like the Japanese, just say the Aborigines? Are we entitled, and why?
Well, brother, there's no doubt that we are entitled to reparations. Our ancestors worked 400 years or 200 plus years, but we've been enslaved since 1619. And our ancestors received not a dime. If America is giving reparations to the Indians for stealing their land, giving them land and money, and making sure that they are getting wealthy through the casinos. If America, who wasn't even involved in the Holocaust against the Jews, can give reparations to the Jews, and if America can give reparations for dropping a bomb on the Japanese in Nagasaki and Hiroshima, why would somebody even dare to suggest that black people don't deserve reparations for slavery? It makes no sense. Why do we have certain black people, Negroes, in the media that's nothing but Paul parrots for the white man to come forth and say, don't give black people reparations? You know, they use all kind of nincompoop type excuses why black people shouldn't get reparations. This is an insult to the ancestors of ours whose bones are buried at the bottom of the Atlantic Ocean. Yes, we deserve reparations, because one of the reasons why we deserve reparations is because slavery is still having an impact upon us today. You know, the negative effects of slavery is still happening to us today, and we haven't recovered from it yet. They dropped the atomic bomb on the Japanese, but look at what the Japanese is doing today. They're producing Toyota. You know, they have totally recovered, but black people still today have not recovered from the influence that slavery have upon us today, and I can prove it in a minute. Ask the average black person on the street what is his name and which tribe that he came from. And 99% of black people will tell you, we don't know what our African name is, and we don't know what tribe that we came from.
I want to say hi. You know what? I want to say hi to Lisa Hobbs that looks at the Underground Railroad television show. Lisa, I want to thank you. You know, you enjoy people that are looking at this and enjoying this at the bottom of where your social networking platform is. I want you to press share. Share it to the different networks if you like this. If you don't like it, give me a thumbs down. Tell me why. If you see a way to where I can improve, because we grow by constructive criticism, send that message to me. We don't always grow by claps. We grow by our detractors too. So send me constructive criticism, because I most certainly don't know it all. Excuse me. Well, Brother Salim, you know, 2 more questions. I'm going to ask you about the NRA. This is dealing with guns. What do you think about the NRA? I think it's the National Gun Organization. Should you be able to bear arms, and should you be able to buy a machine gun and go to a place to buy a gun without proper ID? Should the person be able to own a machine gun? What do you think about the NRA, first of all?
Well, as far as I know, this is an organization that it seems to have white supremacist ideology in the forefront. I don't think that they've ever stood up for the rights of Black people for self defense. As far as I know, I could be wrong, but in general, maybe it might have been a case here and there. But I, I don't really have a concern about the NRA as much as I do about the right of Black people to be able to defend themselves. Malcolm said in one of his books, he said that every Black man, should own a shotgun, and we should learn martial arts in order to defend our families. You see, in this age of Trump, in which you have all these white supremacist groups, standing up and wanting to take us back into slavery, there may come a time which, we see Black people being carried off to concentration camps, to be exterminated, just like the Jews in Nazi Germany. You understand? And they give you hints in some of these movies. That last Purge movie. I'm not talking about the one that just came out last week. The last Purge movie was about white supremacists rolling through the Black community and Black people having to defend themselves, physically. You see, from the white supremacists invading the Black community. You understand? I mean, we're living in some very serious times. I'm just going to call it like I see it. I believe that Black people should have the right to defend themselves from not only, any racists, that would come against us unjustly, but also Black people need to learn how to defend themselves from even Black criminals, Negro criminals that would harm their women and their children. The land is supposed to be self-preservation, right?
Yeah.
Allah tells you plainly in the Quran, that the Muslim have a right to defend themselves. We're not to unjustly attack anyone, you see, but a Muslim should be able to defend themselves when they're unjustly assaulted. That's what I believe in. So I don't really have a concern about the NRA. You're always going to have organizations that's going to stand up for the rights of white people. You see, where are the organizations, where are the NRA, the Black NRAs that's going to encourage Black people to stand up for their rights to self-defense?
When we talk about that, should a person have the right? Should they have the right to own a machine gun? Should they have that right? Should they have that right?
If a person is using it to defend themselves, if they're using it just to go out here and commit terrorist acts, no. If a person, it doesn't matter what kind of weapon you have, it doesn't matter if you have a butter knife. If you're going to defend yourself, you should have a right to use a butter knife. But if you're going to use whatever weapon you have, brother, if you're going to use it to attack people unjustly, if you're going to use it to kill innocent people, if you're going to use it to become a terrorist, no, you don't need those any type of weapon. I don't care what type of weapon it is.
Okay, what about the situation when an individual goes to a gun show and they do not go through the 7-day process of being screened when they purchase a gun? Do you think that's okay? Wrong? Right?
What sense would it make to allow a lunatic or insane person, to get a weapon? That doesn't make any sense to me.
Why is the NRA fighting to keep the NRA?
I can't speak for the NRA. I don't care about the NRA. I care about where are the Black NRAs, and what are they going to do in order to encourage Black people to learn how to defend themselves from unjust and criminal attacks.
Okay.
I don't give a damn about the NRA and what they're doing. I'm concerned about Black people because that is the Black nationalist position.
Okay. Now, I want to ask you about the NSA. Eric Snowden, who had a job contracted for the NSA, told people that the government has been listening to our telephone calls. They've been listening. They've been monitoring. And when you know what, a lot of people knew that for years, but then he left. I think he went to Japan. Now he's in Russia. Was he right to tell that the NSA is monitoring our telephone calls if he signed a disclosure saying he would not say anything? And is it right for the NSA to be doing that?
Well, Allah tells us in the Holy Quran, my brother, Allah said, withhold not the truth when you know what it is. Let me repeat that one more again from the Quran. Allah says in the Holy Quran, said, withhold not the truth when you know what it is. The Quran also goes on to say that speak the truth, even if it be against your near relative. You understand? I support all truth spitters. I support all whistleblowers like Edward Snowden and Julian Assange. Julian Assange is locked up.
WikiLeaks, right? Okay.
In asylum right now. They're trying to get him, to come to America so that he can be locked up for spitting the truth about the hypocrisy, the lies, and the deceptions about what America has been doing in these foreign countries, and here in America to some of their own citizens. You see, I think that these people deserve the support of the masses of the American people. I think that the people should protest on their behalf. I think that the people should, give to their causes, because these are the only type of individuals that keep politics honest in society. See, so I don't see anything wrong with Edward Snowden. If he felt that what he was doing was in the best interest of the American people, I think that he was right. But everybody should automatically know that it's nothing new. I mean, what was COINTELPRO in the 60s and 70s against the Black League? It was the same thing that Edward Snowden is talking about. Spying on people. And Allah tells you in the Holy Quran that spying, in many cases is unjust. It's unfair. It's wrong. It's a sin, spy upon individuals.
The follow-up with that is, I'm trying to be objective. That's why you're hearing this question. Is not the NSA listening and monitoring telephone calls and emails? Is it not protecting the United States of America from domestic and international enemies?
Yeah, they refer to that as national security, and national security is nothing but a code word for protecting white supremacy. Let me repeat that one more again. The term national security, when it's used by white folks, only means protecting the white supremacist interests, of America, and other European or white countries. That's what it really means. You understand?
I understand. So the Patriots Act is not a good thing. The Patriots Act, the building went down September 11th, and the Patriots Act was designed to protect us from domestic terrorism. And you don't think that's a good thing? Not at all.
Who's been a worse domestic terrorist than the government itself? When J. Edgar Hoover created COINTELPRO, you understand that to eliminate, and they specifically said in the document that people like Malcolm X, the Black Panthers, Dr. King need to be neutralized. Neutralized ain't nothing but another word for being assassinated. Who has been a bigger terrorist, a domestic terrorist, than the government itself? You understand what I'm saying? We need to know history, brother. You understand? When they claim that the Bin Laden did the 9/11, we can't question that. How do we know for a fact? I mean, at one point, the FBI was saying that they didn't even have any evidence that Bin Laden was involved in that. And I'm not saying I'm a Bin Laden fan, or I'm not saying he was totally innocent. But why I trust the white media? Huh? When the biggest terrorists have always been this system against black people, Islamic countries, which they invaded to steal the oil, using as a pretext of terrorism. They invaded Afghanistan and went in Afghanistan. And what did the American soldiers do? They helped prop up the Northern Alliance drug pushers, heroin pushers.
Mm-hmm.
This is what they went in Afghanistan on, lying to the American people. They went in against terrorists and they went in to preserve and help promote democracy.
Mm-hmm. I want to let everybody know, because you know what, they listen to YouTube. This is not a prejudice platform. All he's doing is pointing out historical facts, and you see all of the books behind him. He has read to gather that information. This is not a prejudice platform. We just want you to know that. And I'd ask you something about Obama, but I want to ask you something about Afghanistan. What's the Taliban? Were they bad in their extreme ways? Did they not help to keep opium from flowing out of that country when they came into power? And was it bad, their system of Islam?
Well, you know what? I neither have it all bad to say about the Taliban, neither all good. Let me say this here. The Taliban was allegedly oppressing some of the Muslim sisters there from getting an education. I had heard that. I've read about that. If true, I say if true, that's an injustice, because in Islam, you know, Allah tells you in the Quran, you know, that, you know, we should seek knowledge. The Prophet Muhammad said we should seek knowledge from the cradle to the grave. All Muslims are supposed to be intelligent, informed, and educated. So we do not stop our sisters, you know, from being educated. Aisha, the wife of the Prophet Muhammad, was a highly intelligent scholar of Islam. So any Muslim men that's going around with the ideas that all the sisters good for is to be in the kitchen baking cookies, you know, and stuff like that, and they're to be confined to the house. This is not true Islam. So if the Taliban were guilty of that, then they deserve to be corrected. However, from what I understand, when the Taliban took over Afghanistan, what they did, and the word Taliban only means students of Islam. When the Taliban took over Afghanistan, they took it over from drug dealers that was exploiting and pushing heroin. It had prostitution. They was even turning young boys into. There's a documentary on this where the drug dealers in Afghanistan was turning young boys into male prostitutes and making homosexuals out of them. And when the Taliban took over, they put an end to all of this corruption. Okay, but what happened was Bush and Obama after him sent in the American troops on the pretext that they was going in over there to fight against terrorism, when in reality the American soldiers were sent over there. And this is documented evidence.
Yeah.
Troops over there to help the Northern Alliance drug dealers who was murdering people and helping the heroin flow. The American troops went in to protect these damn drug dealers. That's the truth that the U.S. media, the mainstream media, has been telling the American people that they went over there against terrorism. That's a damn lie.
Okay, you know, as we say that, but I'm gonna come to Obama after this. As we say this, is this not the same thing that happened in Cuba when Fidel Castro came in power? That he kicked the gangsters out. They were doing all type of illegal things in Cuba, which is next to Florida. Is that not true?
Brother, that's absolutely true. Fidel Castro, I respect and I honor Fidel Castro. They talk all that garbage about him being a communist or what does the word communist mean? The word communist comes from the word commune, which means to communicate with each other and also to share an economic interest and material interest with each other. Okay, they try to label socialism, such an evil thing, but what is Malcolm called capitalism, a vulturistic ideology that blood sucks on the masses of the people. In Cuba, when Fidel took over from that rotten racist Batista and his regime, Fidel fought racism. Fidel made sure the people ate. Fidel made sure that people had adequate medical care. And what happened was he ran the gangsters out. He ran the mafia out. He ran the racists out. They ran into Florida, in Miami. You understand? And they linked up with the right-wing conservative racists. You understand? And used the media to put out lies that Castro was this and Castro was that. In the meanwhile, the CIA was trying to murder the man with poison, toxic cigars, and sending females after the man to poison him in his sleep and stuff like that, simply because he brought true justice and freedom and equality to the Cuban people. You see, and you still have these dodo American people who don't know a damn thing about history. You understand to believe all this anti-Castro and anti-Cuban crap. But I have a great deal of respect for Castro, because not only did Castro bring some semblance of justice into Cuba, but Castro went into Africa. Let me listen to what I'm saying. Castro got his soldiers and went into Africa to help fight against the racists of South Africa. He went in and fought against the racists from England, Ian Smith, that was oppressing the people in Zimbabwe. And they kicked the hell out of them colonialists, imperialists, and Castro didn't even ask for anything in return from the African brothers and sisters.
Now, you know what, man? A lot of people don't know that. And you know what? I heard you do something on talk about Idi Amin once. Idi Amin, I forgot what country he was from in Africa. He was demonized. And they even said that he ate people. Would you explain about Idi Amin?
They did a media. Hollywood did a movie called The Last King of Scotland, starring what's that actor's name? Forrest Whitaker.
Yes.
Where they did damage to the image of Idi Amin, trying to make him look like a monster. But Idi Amin was an African Muslim leader who really cared about his people in Uganda. He didn't want his people being exploited by the racist Hindus, them racist Indians who don't like black people, who don't like black skin. Who wanted to go into Africa, establishing a caste system, a racist caste system where they economically exploited the people. And Idi Amin kicked them out. He kicked the Zionists out and let them know you can't come into Uganda and take over our economy and take over our natural resource. So Idi Amin stood up for his people.
Didn't he also kick England out and nationalize the oil?
He stood up against the British, the racist British who thought they could continue to dominate his people. Idi Amin got fed up with that. And so what did the media do? The media lied on him and said that he was eating people. How could he eat people? He was a Muslim that didn't even eat pork. So how could he turn around and eat people if he didn't even eat pork?
I thought you said he was a vegetarian. Okay, go ahead.
You understand what I'm saying? Yeah. Idi Amin was a Muslim that didn't even eat the swine. So how are you going to turn around and believe that he going to be a Muslim eating people if he didn't even eat the nasty ass swine? This is the type of brainwashing that our people, who don't know nothing about world history, who don't do no reading, who don't do no studying, most of them won't even Google when you give them some information, and they continue to believe this garbage that these people make in movies and put in newspaper reports about Idi Amin or any black leader who try to stand up for his people.
I must ask you, you know what, when we talk about it, I must ask, it's two questions I want to ask you. First of all, about Obama. Did Obama do the right thing by eliminating Colonel Gaddafi of Libya? And he shook hands with him at the United Nations. Is blood on his hands?
Of course, blood is on his hands. He was a house Negro, for the colonizers and the imperialists, that signed on the AFRICOM. For those that don't know, studied the AFRICOM. That's a military organization that went into Africa, to help support, the colonizers and the white supremacists, to help dominate, the African lands and resources. And they, work to put in puppet masters, to do the bidding, of Washington, D.C. I'm just calling it like I see it. You understand what I'm talking about? I don't go along with lies, deceptions, falsehood, and the media representation. I do my own research, and I encourage everybody else to do their own research. But in my opinion, that was one of the worst atrocities that ever occurred in the history of the world when they did the Gaddafi.
Can you tell people something about Gaddafi and what he stood for? Excuse me for interrupting you.
Well, Gaddafi said in his Green Book that the next stage of world civilization would be seeing the black race as the rulers of the world. He put that in his Green Book. Gaddafi gave money to the Nation of Islam, the Black Panthers, and other black organizations, and it'll help our people. Gaddafi sent money and weaponry to the black South Africans when they were fighting, against the racist regime under apartheid, and did other charitable things. Gaddafi, made sure that his people had food, clothing, housing, shelter. The Libyans didn't want for anything before Obama and these European imperialists, sent their troops in, to topple his government. And even before Obama and Bush went after Gaddafi, you had Ronald Reagan, the racist president that has sent in soldiers to try to assassinate Gaddafi because he was on their shit list, the government shit list. But Gaddafi was a sincere, dedicated Muslim, but based on what I know, that really had the sincere interest of his people. And I encourage people to see this movie called Lion of the Desert. Lion of the Desert, starring Anthony Quinn. It's about the history of Libya, in which you will learn about how the imperialists and the colonizers came in there to oppress the Libyan people, and how the Libyan Muslims rose up to try to free themselves, from the Italian racists and fascists. And at the end of the movie, when the leader of the Libyan Muslim is hung, they have this little boy that picks up his glasses off the ground. And some people say that little boy in that movie, at the end of that movie, was Gaddafi, that had picked up his glasses and vowed to carry on the Libyan revolution. You need to see that movie, Lion of the Desert.
Okay. Let me ask you, is there any consolation, in your opinion, where they asked President Obama about Gaddafi? He said, that is the greatest mistake that I made. I regret that. Is there any consolation for that remorse?
There's no consolation and no forgiveness coming from me. None whatsoever. That was an unforgivable, act that they did against that man. The way they treated that man, the head of state, the way they brutalized him, and did other unspeakable, acts against that man. It was shameful. It was shameful, and all Gaddafi was trying to do, based upon what I read, was unify the African continent.
Did he not give up his weapons of mass destruction? That was in the news that also he gave up his weapons of mass destruction.
Yeah, he complied with what they wanted to do, and the only thing that it did was end up making him more vulnerable, for what later on happened to him and his Libyan people right now. It's in shambles right now. The racists that was hired, the mercenaries that came over there, they came over there with racism. They're enslaving black people over there right now. They're doing everything the opposite of the way that Gaddafi would do.
From my knowledge, they have modern day slavery in Libya right now. Is that?
Huh?
In my knowledge, they have modern day slavery in Libya now.
Exactly. This is going against everything that Gaddafi would be against. This is a shame and a disgrace before humanity.
And, I want to, one more leader, and that is Saddam Hussein. They invaded, and Saddam Hussein gave up his weapons of mass destruction. Was that justified for the United States to invade Iraq? Okay, was that justified? And to have him topple as president, was that justified?
Well, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't have a lot of sympathy for Saddam Hussein, and I'm going to tell you why. He allowed himself to be used for many years, to fight against the Iranian people. That man murdered a lot of innocent Muslims, using mustard gas and other germ warfare chemicals. He was in bed. He was in the hip pocket of what's this guy, Donald Rumsfeld, and the American politicians, like Ronald Reagan, et cetera, killing a lot of innocent Muslims. So I don't really have a lot of sympathy for Saddam Hussein. He, according to some sources, that he did a lot of dirty things against his own people also. You understand? So I'm not a fan of Saddam Hussein, but I do know that a lot of propaganda was used by the Bush regime or as an excuse to invade and topple Saddam Hussein and bring nothing but misery to the Iraqi people. That's all I can say on that.
Okay, like we winding down, and what there's a question you might want to address this, or you might not. We know that these broadcasters are being monitored by the NSA and other organizations. Would you have, in a good way, would you have a specific message to people that are monitoring this broadcast and other broadcasts that are working to uplift people and the people that may be listening right now from the NSA? Would you have a message for them?
Well, the only thing I'd like to say to such people is that I'm a truth spitter, and Allah has commanded me to not fear the criticism or the criticizer when they criticize. A Muslim is a truth spitter. A Muslim is a whistleblower telling the truth. So we don't fear the consequences of speaking the truth. I'm not engaged in any terrorists. I'm not linked with any terrorist groups. I don't believe in harming innocent people. I'm not involved in doing anything illegal. Okay, but as a so-called American citizen in a country that claims to believe in freedom of speech, I am going to take advantage of my right to freedom of speech and speak my mind. I'm not going to be a brainwashed puppet, an automaton, or Paul parrot for nobody. Do you understand? And if it was my own brother that have done some wrong, I'm going to speak out against that. So if the American government and this racist media and the power structure which controls the masses of the people and is doing all these evil things, the people, you're gonna get the whistle blown on you when it comes to me, because I do my homework, I do my research, and I'm gonna spit it like it need to be spat.
Okay. And that is your message to the people that are monitoring from the NSA.
I don't give a damn about if they're gonna listen to my phone. They only gonna listen to what's being said. That's the truth. I don't care. I don't fear. I'm not paranoid. I'm not suspicious about any. I don't give a damn. You see, because Allah gave me the truth to share with others. And as a Muslim, we must speak the truth fearlessly, like the Prophet Muhammad taught us to do. The Prophet Muhammad was the best of truth spitters. We follow in the example of the man to whom the Holy Quran was given.
Okay. And you know what? Again, we're winding down, but I want to emphasize to people that are follow the Underground Railroad and Haymakers, if I'm saying it right, to purchase this brother's book, because you know what, we want to buy so many books from you, brother, that you tired of the orders, so you can produce more books. Okay. So give us information about your books and about the show you come on and your organization.
Well, once again, I also do the podcast every Saturday, 5 o'clock Pacific time. That's West Coast time. And also 7 o'clock Midwest or Central time here in Chicago. The Hate Neighbors Truth Spitters broadcast with Brother Patrick Jameson and also Sister Dolitha Young. That's every Saturday. We talk about current events and different topics which interest the Black community. I'm also the author of several books that I showed earlier in the podcast, and I can be reached at my email address at colleague7@sbcglobal.net. It's on the screen right there. colleague7@sbcglobal.net. For anyone that's interested in the books, I've also have numerous DVDs of my lectures and CDs on various lectures. I've done one DVD that I did lecture is the history of King James, where I expose his homosexuality, lies and contradictions in the Bible. That's one of my most popular DVDs that I did. And I also have my book in lecture form, The Untold Story of Blacks in Islam, on DVD, and also CD for anyone that's interested. But
you got audio book, because some people don't like to read all them pages. You got audio book where I can listen to it in my automobile.
I have audio CDs. The Untold Story of Blacks in Islam is on audio CD, and also my the first book that I did on audio CD is the Talking Book of Black History. The Talking Book of Black.
And brother Salim, I have been asking you so many questions. There may be a specific message that you want the people to hear, and I'm most certainly give you that opportunity. The specific message that you want to send out to the people.
Well, the message that I want to leave our people is that it is time for us to unite as a race. We have to adhere to Malcolm's philosophy. Before he died, he said that it doesn't make a difference to our enemies whether we be Muslim, Christian, Baptist, Mason, Elk, or whatever. Malcolm said that in the eyes of our enemies, we are all nothing but niggas. Okay, I'm just gonna be point blank and frank about it. Okay, so it's time for us to stop arguing and debating with each other, over our differences, and come together for one common cause. Okay, and the common cause that we can come together on, regardless of our religion or group affiliation, is the philosophy of Pan-Africanism and Black nationalism. And once again, Pan-Africanism means the unity and love of global people of African descent, no matter what country that you're in, and also love for the motherland of Africa. Okay, we have to put aside all these tribal differences. The Black gangs have to stop gang banging on each other and recognize that the one color that they have, the one uniform that they have is this: black, black, black. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
We must understand the principles of black nationalism, which mean black people coming together to control the politics and economics of their community. That's how Malcolm defined black nationalism. Do not let nobody get up in your face and say that, oh, you a black nationalist, you a reverse racist. Malcolm said it is no such animal. We are not racist or haters of white people simply because they are white. A black nationalist, when you're a black nationalist or Pan-Africanist, you are simply believing in self-determination, which is the right of black people or people of African descent to control their own destiny. We name ourselves, we have our own culture, we have our own language, we have our own, way of living. No white people, no Indian people, no Chinese people, no Korean people, no Jews have a right to dictate to us how we live and who we are to be. Okay. The only being that has that right is God himself. Mm-hmm. This is what we are saying as Pan-Africanists and black nationalists.
Okay. And you know what, again, I want you to support this brother and go out and buy his book. And he is the leader of the Flaming Crescent Society, which I belong to, but I ain't doing as much work as I can. I'm so busy, but I belong to it. And you know what? And join his organization. His email is down there. Give him a telephone call. Have him on your show. Have him on your show so you can educate and give knowledge to people. You know what I'm saying? This ain't about me. This show is about him and the knowledge that he's putting out. So again, support the Underground Railroad television show. We need your donations. I need help financially because these platforms cost money. And you know what? You have not because you ask not. And damn it, I'm an ass. And also, if you need video production done in Chicago, go to Shea My Media Productions. We do video production. And you want a TV show made? Hey, but you're going to help out, not just with words. You're going to help out financially because, damn it costs money to produce these shows. So you might have another way where you can barter and trade. So, Brother Salim, you know what, man? It's always I'm honored to be part of the Flaming Crescent Society under your leadership, and I just thank you for even including me on it. And I will do my part, even though I'm doing so many things. I would do my part. Like if you have a message that you want put out, just let me know. I share it on Facebook, whatever. But we gotta help each other.
This about you, Brother Cliff. You've been at it a long time. Everybody should know about the Underground Railroad show, the effort that you've been putting forth, to enlighten the community. Everybody should support Brother Clifton Bradley and the Underground Railroad. And I want to thank you for the many times, brother, that you allowed me to participate and be on your show. And I want to encourage you, brother, never to get discouraged. Allah has seen what you've done, brother. Allah has a great reward for you, brother, in Jannah, a paradise, brother, for the effort that you have put forth to keep the memories of our ancestors alive and let people know, the struggle of black people here in America, brother. So keep doing what you're doing, and anytime that I can be of support, hey, brother, I'm there. I just want to say that to you, brother.
And I must tell people I am selfish in the way I'm selfish in my way. I am doing this for half of that. I am doing this for blessings, to be on a scale after the day of judgment, for my good deeds to be weighed. That's the main reason that I'm doing, so to bring them to something, because we get blessings for the ones that we can guide righteously to the religion. And make no mistake about it, anybody that's listening, I want you to come to Islam, but since there's no compulsion in Islam, Perhaps I could bring somebody on the platform to give you knowledge, but I am doing it for that reason. That is my job to.
Could I just say something about Islam before we cut off? Again, we are our intent, brother. Me and brother Cliff's intent is to correct many of the misconceptions that people have about Islam. But we need Black people to understand that before slavery, many of your ancestors were Muslims. Okay, that's documented in the history of Kunta Kinte. But even before that, we had great ancestors in Mali, Timbuktu, Ghana, etc., etc. And Black people really need to understand the benefits of becoming Muslim. If you become Muslim, you become healthier because Islam encourages a healthy diet. You don't eat hog. You give away give up intoxicants and alcohol and drugs and all of these things. You become cleaner because Islam encourages you to be clean. Islam encourages self-respect and respect for others, uplift the women and the children, the fathers included, and encouraged to be strong men and take care of their families. There are many, many benefits that once you become Muslim, if you would just believe in Allah and his messenger, to whom he sent the Holy Quran to, Prophet Muhammad, 1,400 years ago, and begin to read and study the Quran, you will see many wonderful stories and lessons and much wisdom in the Holy Quran to give you guidance in your life. Brothers and sisters, let me just end by saying that just as when you buy an automobile or when you buy a VCR, you get a manual with those creations, those inventions, in order to teach you how to properly use that. Well, do you think that Almighty God would create us as human beings and leave us without a how-to manual in how to direct and live our lives? And that's what the Holy Quran is about, brothers and sisters. It is a manual, a spiritual manual to give you guidance to help you avoid alcoholism, to how you can avoid becoming a sex pervert, to how you can avoid becoming an alcoholic, how your marriage can be happy and satisfying, etc. Because the Quran teaches men and women how to relate to one another. This is what we need to understand about the Holy Quran. Don't be so closed-minded that you say, oh, I don't want to know nothing about Islam or those Muslims. Open up your mind, because you might be able to get in some information that might be able to benefit you and lead you into the doors of paradise when you die.
And you know what? Now we turn this into another show. But what I want to ask you, I'm sorry. What I want to ask you is, you know what? Me and him talk like this, and it's just natural, But I want to ask you, some people say they're not going to be Muslims because we mistreat the women and we make the women cover up and we blow up things. Can you address that?
Well, yes, I can address that to the best of my ability. Let me say this once again. We are here to clear up many of the misconceptions that our people have about Islam. Islam, first of all, the Holy Quran, which is the book of Allah. And this is the divine speech of Allah. Whenever you read the Quran, you are reading that directly communicating with the speech of Almighty God, whose proper name is Allah, brothers and sisters. This is what we need to understand about the Quran. The Quran is not an ordinary spiritual book, okay? But in the Holy Quran, we read where Allah says in chapter 4 to respect the wombs that bore you. So a Muslim man is encouraged to respect and honor and protect all women. Now, in the Muslim world, you do have to have some Muslim men that fail to live up to what the Quran teaches, but that is not to be blamed on the Quran or Islam. The fault lies with that Muslim man. But in Islam, a Muslim woman is allowed to be educated. She's allowed to work. Even when it comes to polygamy, if a Muslim woman chooses not to be involved in polygamy, she has a right not to be involved in it. She can do that by choice. A Muslim woman doesn't even have to wear a face veil if she wants. The Prophet Muhammad said in the hadith, when a woman reaches maturity, she's allowed to leave the face uncovered if she chooses. But if a woman wants to wear it, nobody can interfere with that. So a woman in Islam has right. A woman is not to be oppressed. A woman is not to be mistreated. In fact, in chapter 24 of the Holy Quran, it says literally that if men insult and disrespect women, that they are to be beaten. I know a lot of you find that unbelievable. But yes, in Surah 24 or chapter 24 of the Quran, Allah says that men who insult and disrespect women are to be beaten.
Yes. What about the bombing situation?
Don't believe the lies that women are oppressed in Islam. Women, if a woman is oppressed by any man in Islam, it is because that man is violating her rights.
You know, and they say that woman covers up, but you know what amazes me? They never say nothing about the nun that's covering up. And I don't.
Let me say this here about the Muslim dress.
Hijab.
If you get, let me ask this question right here about to get to the point about the Muslim woman's dress. If you open up a picture Bible, and many of us have seen Bibles that had the artwork or the pictures in it. If you open up a Bible that has the pictures and the artwork in it, in what manner is the Virgin Mary or the mother of Jesus dressed? If you look at any of those pictures, you can see that the mother of Jesus, based on that artwork, is dressed the same way as the Muslim sisters of today.
Mm-hmm.
Back then, during Jesus' day and time, they didn't have mini skirts and halter tops.
Yes.
All the women were covered up. And what was the reason why the women covered up? The women covered up because they wanted modesty. They did not want to be stigmatized or just looked at as sex objects, brothers and sisters, ladies and gentlemen. So why is the reason why a Muslim woman dresses modestly? Because Allah wants her to be recognized for her mind and spiritual qualities. Allah does not want women in Islam to be looked at as sex objects and Jezebels and whores. Okay. You're not going to find in Islam any female Muslim Megan Thee Stallions or Cardi B's or the other loosely dressed women in hip hop.
Now, what about when they say that they want to blow up, Muslims want to blow up things?
Let me finish this point first. We want our women in Islam to have dignity. We want our women to have respect in Islam. We want our women to be honored. And so the Muslim man encourages his woman to dress modestly. That doesn't mean that you can't be stylish or dress beautiful or wear different colors and everything else or wear some of the latest styles as long as it's modest, because the Holy Quran in Surah 7, verse 28 through 31, Allah tells the Muslims, and he doesn't specify whether it's male or female, he says Muslims are to wear beautiful clothing. But Allah does not want any Muslim, whether he be man or woman, to come out the house dressed looking half buck naked. Yeah, that's haram, or that's forbidden in this religion.
Mm-hmm. I had a relative. I'm not gonna call his name, but he said, "Y'all like to blow up things, man. I don't want nothing to do with that." So would you expand on that misconception? I ain't gonna say it's a misconception, but can you expand? The majority of Muslims are not like that.
You can't be a Muslim terrorist. That's an oxymoron. Let me explain what I mean. The word Muslim can never be linked to the word terrorist. Now let me explain what I mean. the word Muslim means a person who peacefully submits to the will of God. Let me repeat that one more again. The word Muslim means one who peacefully submits to the will of God. Now, if you're being peaceful, let me ask you another question. If you're being peaceful, how can you be peaceful and terrorize at the same time?
Strap a bomb to yourself, and yeah, that's true.
Okay, I'm preparing a bomb, and I'm gonna blow somebody up with it. How can you be peaceful and do that at the same time?
Oh, man, suicide is unpermissible in Islam.
No, it's not.
Oh, okay.
No, it's not. Okay, again, let me deal with this term Muslim terrorist.
Okay.
It's a oxymoron. You can't be a peaceful terrorist. So there's no such thing as Muslim terrorists. That is a term that was created by the racist media. You understand? If you're going to be a Muslim, you can only be peaceful and you can only act in self-defense because Prophet Muhammad said plainly in the Hadith not to harm innocent people.
Yeah.
Okay? Now, it's been proven that in some cases of the terrorism, that these were agent provocateurs that was created and hired by either the Zionist, British, or American government. Okay. With the purpose and intent of giving Muslims and Islam a bad name. In fact, some of the photographs that they have of the ISIS terrorists showed them with American-made tattoos. So it's suspected that many members of ISIS are nothing but American soldiers in disguise.
CIA.
I'm not going to say that there aren't some Muslims that have done violent acts, but that is to be condemned. And as far as the suicide bombing is concerned, Prophet Muhammad said in the Hadith that if a Muslim would kill himself with a sword or kill himself with a knife or throw himself off of a mountain, that on the day of judgment, he would be doing the same thing in hellfire for eternally. So the Prophet Muhammad condemned suicide on the part of Muslims, and the Holy Quran itself says in one chapter, to Allah tells you directly that do not do any harm to yourself and do not kill yourselves. So suicide is forbidden in Islam. Ain't no such thing as a suicide bomber being approved of in Islam. And if any sheikhs or imams are telling people to do that, they have violated the Quran and the teachings of Prophet Muhammad. A Muslim is only to take up arms in self-defense, to defend himself against people that are trying to harm him. We are never to attack people first.
Okay. And like I say, man, I guess we're going to finish. Please give people your contact. This is going to be for real. But give people your contact information and how they can buy your book. Your email address is right below you.
Yeah, that is colleague7@sbcglobal.net. Colleague7@sbcglobal.net. That is KHALIQ, the number 7@sbcglobal.net.
Okay. And you know what, brother? I want to, you know what? This is longer than what we thought. But you know what? I want to, thank you for accepting the invitation to come on the Underground Railroad, I guess, social media TV show. And we'll follow him on Facebook. And that show that you come on comes on Saturday at 7:00 Central. Yeah. And what's the name of it?
Saturday, the Truth Spitters broadcast or podcast. That's Hey Neighbors, Truth Spitters. That is 7 p.m. Central Time and 5 p.m. Which would be translated to 5 p.m. Pacific Coast Time.
Okay, I want to thank you
for Saturday And the number once again, let me get that number once again. That is 559-856-2090. Well, you can call in to express your views. And I want to thank you for having me on the show once.
I want to thank you for putting me in contact with Mr. Truth, and I'm glad to be associated with you, and which he's the president of the Flaming Crescent Society, of which I am a member, and support this brother in his endeavor, him and the group, because you know what, one person can't do it by themselves. We're collective. We're working together. I guess we got Pan-African tendencies, we're cooperating, and I must cooperate with the haymakers and work with the haymakers, and I hope that they will work with me, and so we can build up our audience, because no one person can do this alone. And again, watch the Underground Railroad every Saturday night at 10:30 in Chicago. It's 10:30 Central, and send us a donation. You want video production done in Chicago, give me a telephone call, 773-312-9. Damn, I got the number wrong. You know what, Brother Salim, you have so much on your head. but I'll put it in the description. And you know what, you must support this brother in Chicago, because he is doing awesome works to spread the teachings of Islam and the memory of Malcolm X. And brother, I'm gonna get on off and greet everybody in the words of Assalamu alaikum. And Brother Salim, appreciate you. Assalamu alaikum.
Brother, Assalamu alaikum to everybody, and keep up the good work.
So you know what, you have been looking at the Underground Railroad television show. We come on in the United States, in Chicago. We're not Fox News, you're not MSNBC, we're not ABC. You know what? You're getting news from the real people. I'm not talking about the people that are controlled by the gatekeepers. Sitting up here talking about a yo-yo of people singing and dancing that don't affect the masses of the people. You know, there's nothing wrong with that. But that's not what this platform is about. I'm not going to say I won't ever do a show about it. But the thing is, you're not going to get this real talk from ABC News, CNN News, Fox News, because we're not hamstrung the way, you know what, we got a director looking at us, what we can say and what we can't say, but we're going to be respectful. It's not a prejudice platform for those that may think that, because things that he pointed out were factual, because he's a reader. He's a reader. So this is the real damn news for people. This is not watered down, because you know what, we worried about a big sponsor that supports us. You know what, our supporters are you. And I want to thank you for the donations that have been sent to help this platform to grow. Hell, I want to do this 5 days a week, broadcast information to people. You know what? To help people and to make people aware. And this is not out of vanity. Oh, this is to help. But we do need help. Because you know what? These platforms are not free. They're not free. So I want to thank David Koss and other people that have made donations. Not just words. Anybody can say you're doing a good job. You my main man. But you know what? In my neighborhood, they always said money speak louder than words. So if you like what you say, you know what? Go to the description below and send a donation. Because like I said, we want to grow this platform. We want to grow this platform. I'm going to say it one more time. We want to grow this platform. And you know what? You just clapping and you're not helping out economically to grow this platform. And you say you like this platform. It's not doing us no good. But if you can't, you know what? We ask that you, greatest reward you can give to us is to pray for our success. And we know that we will not be successful without Allah's help. We know this. But you know what? I'm asking humbly, because you have not donations. You have not because you ask not. And I'm not fearful for asking. You have any suggestions or ideas or comments or anything like that? You know what? Do not hesitate to let me know. You know, like I said, this room right here, it could be lit up, but we need your help. We need your help. We need your help, whether you want to barter, you want to trade, but you know what we have? We do video production in Chicago. And we do editing. So if you want a television show made, organization that has something that you have an event, we can film it. In the description of the website is below, at the bottom in the description. So you can go there. You can go there right now. But not only that, I want you to share this broadcast with a friend, an associate, or somebody that's in your social media platform, because we're trying to grow. And you know what? And humbly say, we need your help to grow. We need your help. And you know what? We also need, thank you for the advice. We need your advice. We need your constructive criticism, because you know what? A lot of people can't take constructive criticism, but this is how we grow. This is how we grow. You know, this is how we grow, because nobody knows everything. Nobody knows everything. So we need your help. Make a donation. Leave us a comment. Give us a thumbs up. Thumbs up or thumbs down. Tell us what we need to improve, because we like to do this 5 days a week, disseminate information to people. That is something that we like to do, but we need your help. But not only your help, we need your comments, we need your suggestions, and to share some ideas about what we can do better. So you're looking at the Underground Railroad TV show in Chicago. We come on Can Television every Saturday night at 10:30 p.m. Central Time. But don't worry, because we're going to put the content on YouTube if it's acceptable, you know. Because there's certain things we can't put on YouTube and certain things we can put on YouTube. But so I'll tell y'all, caught me without my kufi on, but that's okay. You know what? Because the kufi doesn't really design say who I really am. You know, it's just something I put over my head. It's a prayer cap, you know. But you're looking at me right now. This is not the real me anyway, because I have a soul, and this is just a temporary shell. This is just a temporary shell before people get bent out of shape by me saying this is not the real me. The real me is enshrouded in things that you cannot see. The real me is enshrouded in things that you cannot see with the human eye, because I have a spirit. You know, so I want to, I'm gonna have David Casa on next week, if it's the will of Allah, to talk about global issues. And I'm gonna try to get in contact with Brother Randy Evans in Chicago, who's a researcher, to do a show with him. He's dynamite. Him and Brother David. And Brother David, I want to thank you for what you have done to help this platform to grow. But let me shut my mouth. So I'm going to tell everybody, Assalamu alaikum, and may Allah bless you, whether it's the morning, evening, afternoon, or night, and share this broadcast. Assalamu alaikum.